Hello, my name is Angela Cleo Smith, and our show today is featuring the finalists in PROFESSIONALNET, the networking source website 2013 blog contest. PROFESSIONALNET is a members-only website platform with like-minded individuals who share their events, photos, videos, and of course, blogs. Some of us are coming from behind our computers and meeting for the very first time. Blogging refers to community with an audience and speaking a message. The word blog itself derives from having a website or weblog that contains a writer, or in this case, a group of writers, own experiences, observations, and opinions, often having images, videos, and sound. We have 5 finalists today and only one winner. The criteria for the blog contest are consistency, style, informative, intention, and following up. Now, let's meet our guest. We have Montel Curran. Hello.
Hello.
We have Latifa Abdullah.
Hello.
We have Codis Hampton II.
Hello.
And we have Brian K. Hill.
Hello.
And welcome to the show. So, let's get started on blogging, and hopefully you learned some things today. We have some, what I'm going to call blog experts, because part of this contest is from these blog finalists. And for first-time bloggers, they often struggle with future of their blogging. So my first question to the panel is, what is the main purpose of your blog? And let's start with you, Montel.
Thank you, Cleo. The main purpose of my blog was to influence people. Now, my website is called Financial Literacy, Curran's Financial Literacy. And so many of us, we have not been taught in how to invest. So that's what my blog was about. My background is finance, more than 30 years in stocks, bonds, mortgages. And so I thought that I could duly the subject, or satisfy that subject, and give people the understanding that it's not so difficult if you know what you're doing. And my intent was to help them get there.
You know, Montel, I also found that giving out information is really important today. And people used to hold information so close to their chest. It's different today, and that's
True.
where blogging comes in.
And, well, that's why blogging is so important, because with me, blogging allowed me to get my ideas correct and be able to remember them better, because in writing anything down, you remember what you've written.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to ask you the same question, Latifa. What is the purpose of your blog?
Actually, to communicate with women. I like to communicate on personal development and business development for emerging entrepreneurs, emerging women entrepreneurs. So that's the purpose. Just sharing heartfelt information that will help them in both areas, whether it's their life or their business.
And one thing about you, Latifa did both written and video. Mm-hmm. Tell me about why you did video.
You know, that started out, we had one idea, but it actually blossomed into something else. And so that series really was a heart-to-heart for women, assisting them in getting through the hard places. And so, yeah, it was just something that came from the heart.
Okay, good. Now, Codis, I know some of us have come from behind our computers, but I do know you, Codis, and I've been knowing you for probably a year now, because we started at a different platform, which was the Loft Experience, and now we're at PROFESSIONALNET. And what is the purpose of your blog? Because you have a style unlike others, so tell us about that.
Well, my blog is mostly to sort of is to provoke thought. And, you know, I cover a variety of subjects. I want to make sure that the people who read my blog look at it from a certain perspective that might not be familiar through other reads they do. Mm-hmm. So it's mostly, as I said, to provoke thought and try to reach a person through different ways of looking at specific problems.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about your blogging, and then you're also writing a book, so we'll talk about that a little bit later, but definitely want to go back over that. Brian Cahill. Now, you are a consistent blogger. You write a lot, and you give out information, and you call it free information. So tell us what your purpose of blogging.
I usually learn and remember things by acronyms, so I created an acronym just for your show.
Oh, you did?
Blog means building learning opportunities gradually.
Okay.
Doesn't matter the content or the specific, the blog is to learn something. So I don't have to write the blog. I just know where hundreds of thousands of articles are, and I know these specific topics, and I just automatically send them to a specific blog. So whether it be mental health or African American men, or it doesn't matter what the topic is, I just have them going because people like reading content.
Right. And especially when it's informative. And just like you were writing about the Obamacare, some people, that's misunderstanding to them. So you were able to share information and then link them also to other websites.
Right. Like, that is such a complex issue. If you can just explain it to me and make me laugh in 3 to 5 minutes, the blog accomplishes its purpose, or the video. People don't want to be advertised to or sold something. Just what's the gist? I found that website and I just thought, oh, so many people are going to like this.
Yeah.
And if they don't, well, that was the intent, to build learning information gradually.
And back to the audience, just to let you know that PROFESSIONALNET is a members-only website. And again, some of us are meeting for the first time. And not only are we sharing information on that website, but we're also talking about meeting outside of that computer. Because we're all over 25 years old, and so we know what it's like to be interactive and doing interpersonal relationships. Unlike a lot of young people who they do the social networks and they don't ever meet unless they're in school. So thank you again for being here today. So I'm going to start with you, Latifah. Is this something, blogging, would that be something that you would do long term?
Probably. Right now as part of, sometimes when you're communicating with a specific audience, you might have like an editorial calendar. So for now, I believe it is going to be part of how I communicate with the women. You have so many different ways to communicate, but I believe it will be a long-term option for me.
And another thing is that, of course, we're members of PROFESSIONALNET, but we're also in other social media networks like LinkedIn and Facebook and some of the other popular sites. And I say you use all of them, Of course, we don't want you to come to PROFESSIONALNET and tell us what you have for breakfast. That's not our purpose. We want you to talk about something substantial that we can walk away and feel like we've gotten something out of it, some information. So, Codis, do you plan on blogging? Is this something long term for you?
Oh yes, well, my background, I came from Naval Supply Center as a procurement director, and I retired in 1996. So I was looking for different jobs to try to get into, and I liked accounting and all this stuff. But anyway, there was a guy that at that time wrote for the Oakland Tribune. His name was Ralph Wiley. And I liked the way he wrote different articles about, it wasn't just a guy hit a home run. It was about coming at it from a different angle. He just didn't hit a home run. He strolled to the plate. He told a story. And that's what I intend to try to do in my blog, is to tell a story, to bring the reader in from front to the end. Right. There's a beginning, a middle, and a conclusion. And here's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah. Brian, I probably don't even need to ask you this question, because I already know the answer, like any lawyer would say. I'm only going to ask a question as long as I know the answer, but do you think you'll be blogging long term?
For 35 years, I've been blogging.
Wow.
Internet came, and I just continued what I was doing. I have journaling every day.
Yeah.
And I thought, how am I going to communicate? Because my pages are to myself.
Right.
So if I just put it online, I can date stamp it and go, oh, that's what I was thinking last week, last year, and okay, good. So it's just a continuation. In my mind, blogging is not new. Social media is not new. We've all been talking all of our life.
Right.
The internet just gave us a voice. So I just extended what's already been happening.
Yeah. Okay. Montel?
Well, I would just like to say that the reason I blog is the fact I'd like to give back to the community. I find that my skills are those that could make you money. You know, to be able to find a stock and then invest in it, and then know when to get out of the stock. And I've trained several people in that area, which means that when I'm no longer there, they can make money on their own. Now, in addition to that, I've gotten into mortgages. And so many people have lost their homes because of short sales and foreclosures and bankruptcies. But there are finance out there for those people. And my blogging will help those people find me so that I can help them.
Yeah.
That's why I have been blogging, to help others help themselves.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That probably leads into my next question, and I'm going to start with you, Codis. Do you see it as a hobby, or is it a professional application?
No, I would say it's a professional application because it's something that you don't take lightly. I mean, you're talking, in my view, I'm sure with everybody else's too, you're talking to an audience, and the written word is very powerful. So what you say matters to some people.
Right.
And how it affects a person, you want to make sure you're putting out the right vibe, so to speak.
Now, we talked earlier, I talked to you and your wife, and I'm not sure if it's a secret or not, but you have a book that's got almost ready to go into publication. Is it something that you can talk about, or is it maybe a title or something?
Well, the title of it is Gracie Hall Hampton, and she's my grandmother, and it's called, as I said, Gracie Hall Hampton, the Arkansas Years.
Okay.
So it goes back from 1917 to 1953,
Wow.
and the time when she was growing up. And so what I was trying to do was to, we know where we come from. Obviously, we're always interested in who we are and our ancestors and all that. I just wanted to make sure that people understood how those people lived in those days and what they had to do to get through those times so that we could be here to talk to you.
Yeah, it's almost historical.
Yeah.
You can learn something through someone else's eyes and through the stories. I love storytelling, and I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Yes, it should be out next, about a month or two from now.
Oh, good. Looking forward to it, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Brian, so professional application or hobby?
It's both. It's hobby, and I'll link this. As an individual, father, black man, that means a lot to me. So the things that I've learned, like Codis talked about from 1917 to 1953, I want to communicate from a hobby. How should I be communicating what I've learned from 1958 till now? Because what I had to go through, a lot of men around me went through the same thing. So it's a hobby on that side. From the professional side, I like picking topics that people need or that they want. So if I get an email or you send me something, I'm going to find an article to meet that need. So that's the professional side.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh, okay. Can I ask you another question? You have an organization that you belong to called Black Men Speak. You talk about that sometimes in your blog. Could you just give us a brief background on that?
Briefly, I walked into a meeting of African American men, and I hadn't remembered the feeling secure around men that were talking about issues. It was like a young man sitting with all older men. And other than church and school, I couldn't remember feeling, wow, everyone's older than me. I don't have to pretend to know everything. So briefly, I sat in with them, and for the last 2.5 years have been with them trying to, they have a certain skill set, come from a part of the background that we all come from, but I had another skill set. And this technical internet, it was not a part of that. So I just kind of blended in, and now their voice is a lot louder. So we talk about two things, substance abuse sides of our life and mental health. One of those two stories, all of us have some kind of association to, and each man has their story. We have fun telling our stories.
Oh, great. And we can hear more about that on
Blackmenspeak.net.
Blackmenspeak.net. Okay, so we're halfway through this show. I know yours is more professional than hobby.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And before we move on, because this is a blog contest, and I just wanted to announce the winner. Do you mind? You know what? Again, the criteria, all of you have great style, content, engaging, consistent, persistent. And that's what we want. And hopefully you don't stop because the contest is over, but you were blogging prior to this contest. But what really stood out, who the winner is on this particular blog contest, was they were so engaging in other people's blogs, and not saying that all of you did not do that, but when you do it on a consistent basis, that tells me that you are the winner. So I'm going to just give you guys, first of all, Latifah, congratulations for being a finalist in the blog contest, PROFESSIONALNET 2013. Codis Hampton, congratulations.
Thank you.
And Montel Curran, congratulations for your. And then the winner for our blog contest for 2013 is Brian K. Hill. And it was for obvious reasons. And then we added his $100 win, and just want to say thank you so much for just keeping all of us going. You know, anything that we write and do, and I'm sure you guys all noticed how Brian was always there, keeping the website moving forward. And so if there's any tips that you could take from Brian, run with that too, because we want that PROFESSIONALNET website to continue. So say a couple words, Brian, and then we'll move on with the show.
I gave blogging an acronym too.
You did?
I added giving individuals needed guidance. You know, the blog is build learning opportunities gradually, but the blogging is giving individuals needed guidance. There was one person that was trying to decide, should I move or should I stay? And my wife and I happened to read his, and I said, should we say anything? She said, yeah, let's kind of throw some questions in there, have them thinking. So I wrote those questions down that we kind of processed. He wrote back and he went, thank you. I have some more to think about. And that was like a paycheck for me, because it wasn't, the response was not negative. It was, I hadn't thought about that. Right. And that's all we were thinking. What could we give a young single professional to think about? Because a couple and a family perspective is different than a single perspective. Right. So we focused it on, are you going to build relationships down south? Are they going to be good? Or are you going to build them up here? If you're fine here, why would you go move? You want to start all over again? And that was nice. So I'm looking forward to seeing whatever his decision is. To me, that's blogging. Right. Engaging, connecting, and staying open.
Thank you, and again, congratulations to all of you. Again, good job. Thank you. You guys really, really are my hero and sheroes, so thank you again. What I want to also know is, because you guys are great writers. I mean, I don't know about you, I have to write my own. And fortunately, I'm a doctoral candidate. Bryn back there, we talked about, we're masters in public administration, so we know how to write, and both of us were struggling over there. So I do have someone who edits my work, but I was wondering, Montel, do you have any writer training? How does that work when you blog?
Well, I spent several years in Toastmasters.
Oh.
And I like speaking extemporaneously, and I enjoy people, and both of those items give me a certain awareness of, and plus I write poems every morning to my wife.
Oh, how nice.
She works for Amtrak, and so maybe 6 days out of the month, she's on a train, and when I wake up in the morning, I write her a poem that rhymes.
Oh.
And so that's where I get much of my practice.
Okay. Latifah, what about you?
Yeah, I absolutely love English, and I love editing. I like to take something from its raw form and make a masterpiece out of it. And I've done it for a long time. And then, you know, coming from the corporate world, it was a lot of business writing there. So in blogging, I kind of had to switch that up because I saw that it was more conversational. But either way, you know, I like writing, and I like I like writing and editing, so it's really actually kind of easy for me.
Oh, good. Yeah, because people, I did some editing on some bloggers, and they were saying, oh, I know nothing about blogging. You know, is it something that you have to be trained for, CODIS?
Well, probably. I mean, if you want to go at it that way, but I don't think you really have to have a training, you know, depending on what type of blogger you intend to be. But for me, you know, it takes me half an hour to say good morning. So I have a lot of things to say.
Right,
And I do have an editor who helps me out. I also have software programs, but I find that when I'm writing, it's better for me to actually type it out, and then I'll go back, oh no, I don't want to say it that way. So I create as I go along,
Okay.
you know.
And Brian, do you have an editor in your?
Yes, her name is Felice Hill. Honey, don't write that. Take that out. Cross that, make it an F. Put a comma there, put a period.
That's your
Don't send
wife.
that out. Yes.
Makes you better.
Not very good. It just comes out and it's not correct.
Okay, just with the answer of yes or no, do you consider yourself a writer, Montel?
Yes.
Latifah?
Yes.
Yes, love it.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. We're all writers. Let me ask you this. Now, some people are really curious about blogging and they want to start, but what can I tell them, or what can you tell them that the benefits of blogging? Let's start with you, Brian.
The benefits, features and benefits, what I think about. First, is it for you or is it for others? Identify that. Second, give yourself a motivation. Like, everything I do has my why. Move your will helps you. So if I decide to focus my why in writing a blog, then I have to motivate myself to do that.
Yeah.
Know why you're writing, for yourself, for someone else.
Right.
And then give yourself the oomph to get it done.
Yeah, that's a good benefit. Yeah. CODIS, what about you? What would be the benefit of blogging?
Again, it allows me to vent in some ways, you know, which is why I pick a wide variety of subjects, you know, or topics. But yeah, I think that you know, you have to put yourself out there and write what you feel.
Where do you come up with some of your blogs? I mean, again, I think if there was a style contest, you would win. But where do these ideas come
you
from?
know, somebody asked me that one time, and I mean, you know, it just comes to me, you know, because I, as I said, the primary thing for me is to make sure that I'm coming from a different perspective than everybody else.
Right.
And I have a funny way of looking at the world sometimes.
Yeah.
And I go from there. And that's why it's very hard for me to sit down and like my wife bought me the type of program where I can just talk into it, but I can't use it because I feel comfortable typing
Right.
because I'm going to back it up. No, I don't want to, you know.
Yeah.
And when I get through, I can read it and say, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. What are the benefits for you?
Well, I think if you're building a business, that it's a way to, if you're looking to maybe build, add people to your community, it's a way for people to get to know you. And so, yeah, I think it's just part of communicating. So whether you have like different, you can be on different platforms. So I think blogging is it's another way to communicate and to add to your community, sharing information, and you know, for them to really get to know you.
Yeah, I just want to add, Latifah and I, we met early this year, right? And that was through LinkedIn. And we met, and just so happened we live in the same neighborhood. We live close, so we met at Starbucks. And we've been friends. I've been to her events. And I want to encourage women, if you want to be empowered and you want to find out some information on what other successful women are doing, follow this lady right here, Latifah, because she is like the leader right now. And sometimes when you find your way, I think you found this, and it's a good place and good platform and path for you. So I want to congratulate you for all that you're doing, because I've watched you grow throughout this year. Here we are in end of September, and you've done how many events so far?
Several.
Several,
Since May.
yeah. I mean, and you have an upcoming event too. I'm not sure when this airs, but if you want to know more information, I'm sure that, you could probably see it
Yeah.
next to your name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
And Montel, so are there any benefits to blogging?
Well, my blogging comes from a poem that I read some 25 years ago, and I've been following it most of my life. It goes, "I shall pass this way but once. Be there any good that I can do, let me do it now, for I shall not pass this way again." And so all my blogs have been because of that. And because I do want to share and give back. We're not here that long. And the things that we learn, others need or should get those skills in order to increase their livelihood. That's my reason for blogging.
Yeah, that's an excellent reason. Good job. We only have a couple minutes left, and just quickly, CODIS, any challenges?
Well, to continue coming up with good material so that you could earn more readership.
Okay.
That's my.
That's good. Brian?
Could you ask that question again?
Just any challenges that you see? Because we've talked about the wonderful things. If there's any, if none, just say no. It's a wonderful thing.
Well, when I hear that word, I think of being inspired.
Okay.
Challenged yet inspired.
Good.
So
good.
I'm going to leave you with that.
All right. Thank you. And Latifah?
No, I don't think there are really any challenges. I think there's always, if there is a challenge, there's always a way to meet the challenge. So, yeah, I think you can meet it and get past it if there is a challenge. If you're presented with a challenge, you can get past it.
All right. And Montel?
I'd like to just leave you with something.
Okay.
This poem is called A Thought Control, and it applies to everything because everything comes from a thought.
Okay. You can do it in 10 seconds. Go for it.
Thought control is the highest form of prayer. Therefore, think only on good things and righteousness. Dwell not in negativity and darkness. And in those moments that seem bleak, especially in those moments, see only perfection. Express only gratefulness. Imagine only the manifestation of perfection in your next choice. In this formula is found tranquility. In this process is found peace. In this awareness is found joy. Whatever you choose to change, first change your perspective. Get a new thought, one that will change whatever. The circle is complete.
Great ending for the show. And I wanted to say thank you to William Whitley. Is that his name? William Whitley. The music that you'll hear in the end and that you heard in the beginning, he was the composer of that music. I want to thank him for that. Also, all the camera staff, which is David and Susan and Masu and always Edmund and Bryn and Mickey. Try to get everybody, and there's 2 interns. So thank you all for being here today. Hopefully you learned some tips on vlogging, because I know that's something that's here and it's here to stay. It's our future, and at the same time, just like all of us here. Again, thank you, Montel, Latifah, CODIS, and Brian. Good job, and again, congratulations. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, my name is Angela Cleo Smith. Have a good day or night.